Hey, it's Harry Tess here, back again, as promised, with my number one pick for what anime you should start with on this new journey. Also, I want you to know that the shows that I cover on my channel are never going to be linear. And what I mean by that is the shows that I cover are not going to be what they seem on the surface. For instance, hey bro, did you get to try One Piece yet? Nah man, I don't like that pirate stuff. What about My Hero? Not into superheroes. One Piece is not just a show about pirates. I don't even like pirates that much, but look. My Hero Academia is not just about superheroes. There's a lot of things that go on in the story beyond that surface level. What I'd like for you to do is think of a story or a movie or a TV show that moved you. And that can mean a lot of things. But what I don't want you to think about is a jump scare in a horror movie or an explosion that caught you off guard. Think about something that brought you joy or brought you sadness or inspired you or gave you hope. And what I'd like for you to do is put that in the comment section. Before we get into the series, we should first look at its creator, Kohei Horikoshi. Manga creators just don't get the credit that they deserve. And I want to take some time on my channel to kind of present them in a way that they aren't usually presented. Honestly, I think it gives a lot of context to the stories that they're trying to tell. Manga industry is an incredibly competitive and difficult thing to break into. I'd say most of the manga artists that I've watched interviews for have shared the same experiences of being told that it's not a good idea to be a manga artist. Like, you should be a doctor or you should be a this or that. I'd seen an interview with Kohei, and I think it really, and I'll link that down below, but I think that it really adds some context. You might not know this, but becoming a manga artist in Japan is incredibly difficult. I'd say even maybe 1 in a billion. I'd kind of put it on the same level as trying to be an astronaut here. You really need to have god-tier art skills to even get on someone's radar there. Many try and fail over and over again, and that was Kohei's story. Most quit, and we never see anything from them. I'm not going to bore you and bring up everything that Kohei Sensei has done in his career, but I would like to focus on a few things that I think are pivotal that kind of build up to what became what we're going to talk about next. First, we had Tenko, and Tenko was about a woman who dreamed of being a warrior, and the world told her that she couldn't. And we had My Hero, the One Shot. So I know it has kind of a similar name, but the story was vastly different. There was no superpowers, people relied on gadgets, and the main character in this show was sick and frail, and everyone told him that he couldn't be a hero, and he wanted to be anyway. Finally, we had Barrage, and Barrage was about a destitute boy who became king of a nation. The main characters of these stories all faced incredible hardships from the world around them while trying to achieve their goals, much like our main character in My Hero Academia. Prior to My Hero Academia, Kohei had 2 projects that were serialized by Shonen Jump and then canceled. After Barrage was canceled, Kohei went into a deep 2-year depression. And there was a quote that I read by him which basically said he didn't have the energy to even create anything new anymore. He was just exhausted. He had almost given up. He could have called it quits at that point. I think most people would. But instead, he took the best parts of his previous works and created something new. And that was My Hero Academia. So first, before I go any further, I released my simple 3-step pro guide to watching anime last week. Before you start My Hero Academia, I recommend that you check it out. Why My Hero Academia is a good starter anime. First, Kohei was extremely influenced by Marvel and DC. If you're already a fan of Marvel and DC comics, look no further. You're going to absolutely go batshit over this. 2, My Hero Academia takes place in Japan, right? So what that means is you're going to get I would call it a soft introduction to some basic elements of Japanese culture. A lot of people start with shows that I would say are barely Japanese. And look, there's nothing wrong with these shows. They're critically acclaimed and I love them. But Cowboy Bebop takes place in space. And Full Metal Alchemist takes place in magical science Germany. So as far as getting a little bit of Japanese culture, like those two things, they are great pieces of Japanese animation, but they aren't going to give you what you need in order to branch out from those 4 or 5 anime that everyone recommends over and over again. Basically, you want your first anime to be Japanese. Third, My Hero Academia is made by StudioBones. StudioBones, I've always been impressed by their work. So here's a couple of my favorites that they've made semi kind of recently. Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, big fan. Mob Psycho 100, the animation is insane. Eureka 7, oh man, I get emotional thinking about that one. And Soul Eater, which wasn't a great anime adaptation, but still looked awesome. Here's just a quick example of what StudioBones is capable of. And lastly, you're not alone. I'm a My Hero Academia fan myself, so you want to talk about it? I'm here. Nothing would bring me more joy than to find out that you decided to watch My Hero because you watched my video. So please, if you start watching it, let me know. What is My Hero Academia all about? And the one question that the author asks the viewer over and over again is, what does it mean to be a hero? Our story begins with a world much like our own. Only one day, 100 years before the events of My Hero Academia, the first powered human is born. After that, many more humans with powers, or quirks, appeared. Now 80% has a quirk, and 20% end up not as lucky. But one hero stands above all the rest, All Might. He earns the nickname the Symbol of Peace because villains would rather just chill than risk him possibly showing up. The result is that society becomes complacent and gains a false sense of security. But what they don't know is that All Might, the Symbol of Peace, is human, and he's dying. This opens the door for our young fledgling MC, or main character for you, those of you who are new, Midoriya Izuku, who was born without powers and wants nothing more than to save people with a smile, like All Might has done for years. The story starts off with Midoriya looking back at the day he started his journey to become the #1 hero. There's a lot of things that I like about this series, but there's one thing that really sticks out to me. What makes Deku a great MC is that he has every reason not to want to be a hero, but it's the only thing that he wants to do. A boy born without powers and the dream of becoming a hero who saves people is rejected, beaten, and told he can't by the person he looks up to the most. This is a villain's backstory. It's called My Hero Academia. This series does this often. It introduces not only heroes who work hard to save people, but also others who just do it for fame and glory. Some of the villains are just terrible and really just want to do harm. And some of the villains have felt the injustice of the hero system that's currently in place and want to see that society turn to dust. And some of them make really good points to that statement. And that brings us right back to the main question that the author asks the viewer. What does it mean to be a hero?
トップヒーローは学生時から逸話を残している。彼らの多くが話をこう結ぶ。考えるより先に体が動いていたと。君はヒーローになれる。
言い忘れてたけど、これは僕が最高のヒーローになるまでの物語だ。
Overly critical fans will find something wrong with any show that we're talking about here.
It's WeBro54 back here to give you the 10 reasons why your favorite show sucks.
I found that anime YouTube is especially negative, so I'm in an effort going to be the other side. I'm going to be overly positive. What I found recently is that, especially in this most recent season, season 5, that My Hero Academia is slowly making its way up on my list. That's why I believe that this is the best show for you to watch as a new anime fan to get started. This story, like many others, inspires me to be better. It's a story of someone living up to their own impossible expectations. It's a story of desperate optimism against an unfair reality. It's a story that inspires me to do more for the people around me. This shit just hits different. Go beyond.